All right, next up, Mr. Duane Whitmer, also running for the 27th Congressional District, where the incumbent Congressman Jacobs was just on. Mr. Whitmer,
hey
nice
guys,
to have you with us today.
No, thank you for having me. It means a lot. Thanks for inviting me to be here. I'm glad to be here.
It is absolutely our pleasure. As you know, you get 2 to 3 minutes to talk about whatever plank you'd like, and then we have some questions for you.
Absolutely. I'll make it quick because I want to get to the questions. But
Yep.
I'm Duane Whitmer. I am the Libertarian nominee. I'm running third party, running on a campaign of, the two-party system has essentially failed us. Republicans win Republican races, Democrats win Democratic races. They use each other as the boogeyman. The right says Nancy Pelosi is the boogeyman. The left says Mitch McConnell's the boogeyman. They work together for never-ending spending, never-ending debt, never-ending war, and don't really solve any of our problems. Wages have stayed stagnant. And so I decided that building the Libertarian Party, building a competitor to the two-party system, which has perpetually failed, will allow them to start taking more of us seriously. As they start to lose voters, they're either going to adapt their policies to change and benefit the voters more, or they're going to lose races. And I'm okay with that. It's like I'm own an accounting firm. I'm a business owner. If you like my business, you're going to come to it. You're going to give me money. If my service struggles or my product struggles, you're going to go somewhere else. And it should be like that with voting. We need to start voting for the best candidate and the best policies, and not because the letter after someone's name is what you're registered as.
Okay. So let's start with the hot button questions for the congressional district. Can you tell us what your stance is on the Affordable Care Act, please?
Yes, I think that the only thing the Affordable Care Act did well was cover pre-existing conditions. Everything else was kind of poorly done. It was a beautifully written Ponzi scheme to shift wealth from the taxpayer to the corporations that own hospitals and insurance companies, as evidenced by costs didn't go down, quality of care didn't get better. It was kind of a pretty big failure on that regard. Crony capitalism strikes again, where people bought politicians and got bills passed to benefit themselves under the facade of helping the general public.
Okay. Now, not a lot of people recognize they may hear the Libertarian Party, but don't necessarily know what it means. So in 30 seconds, can you talk about what the standard planks for the Libertarian Party are?
Yes, we are pro-freedom and individual choice. So the libertarian mindset is you can be as liberal or conservative as you want, just don't force other people to think and be like you. We generally believe that the individual can lead their life better than bureaucrats and politicians from DC or Albany, as evidenced by, while in NY27, Chris Lee resigned, Chris Collins is going to jail. In New York State, Spitzer, Skello, Snyderman, they're all going to jail or resigning in shame. The Republican House leader just resigned. These people can't run their own lives, yet they're in charge of regulating everything we do. The Libertarian Party wants to bring the power back to the people and let them understand that they have a right to run their own life with less government interference.
Okay, so if you win the congressional office for District 27,
yes,
a lot of the interaction you're going to be having with people with disabilities is the necessary funding and operation of the programs that serve them.
Yes.
So to give you an example, there's been a bill proposed for the last few years that is meant to provide increasing opportunity for people with disabilities to live in the community rather than institutions.
Good. Yes.
Okay. So what would your thought be on how you would advocate for services for people with disabilities once in federal office?
If I won, I would do two things. I don't have much interaction with the disabled community. I don't know much about them. My sister actually works in a group home herself, so she has a lot of interaction with them. And actually, we have a libertarian running for state senate in District 52, I believe. His name's Tom Queter. He's actually disabled. He's in a wheelchair. His legs don't work. I would bring him on my policy team, and I would make sure that he's representing us and working with us directly. I want to work with the community. I need to make sure that they're being part of the platform, they're being part of the policy team. It's not a bunch of bureaucrats who don't have interaction with the community or don't have any relation to this community. This community needs to be represented in the policies, so we're making policies that directly benefit them. So I would bring Tom in, I'd bring my sister in, I would bring people from this community in to hear their actual concerns, and modify policies and plans around directly benefiting them.
Okay. Mark, I'm going to give you the cleanup question in the minute after this one, so I just want you to prep up.
All right.
Duane, talk to me a little bit about what you think with regard to police reform.
Yes.
People with disabilities have as negative interactions sometimes with the police as other minority groups. So I'd like to hear what your thoughts are.
So the issue we have with police is that police are being used as revenue generation for a failed progressive big government policies. Politicians pass big government laws, big government regulations, and they rely on police to issue traffic tickets to generate revenue. As evidenced by what happened in Philadelphia yesterday, police aren't guidance counselors. They're not mental health professionals. It's not what they're trained to do. Police are trained to respond to a violent threat with violence. That is it. In regards to police reform, what we need to do is make sure there are other agencies designed and capable of handling situations like this. We need to start having the communication or the conversation about adapting and understanding that everything isn't black and white. A man with a knife doesn't necessarily mean harm, especially if there's mental health issues going on there, and start showing some empathy for the less fortunate and adapting policies and platforms that are going to help that. Instead of calling the police, which is our only line of defense, instead of making the police answer calls from a cat in a tree to an armed robbery, maybe start to develop or have mental health professionals working with the police so there's a better first response, so that doesn't come to violence. One thing I learned today, actually, I did an event today and the police showed up because I had a podium in a public park, and apparently that's against the law now. Buffalo police don't have tasers. They have no non-lethal ability to stall a situation. They only have guns. Well, if there's no option for non-lethal, there's no way to control certain situations. It's either lethal or not, and there's no in between. And that's something that we need to have. I'm planning on doing an event about this and learning more about this. I just learned today. But that is something we need to have a serious conversation about, is that if police don't have tasers or a form of non-lethal response, well, then they only have one response, and that's lethal, and that's not a good sign. So.
Okay. The last question is for my compatriot, Mr. Shaw. Mark?
All right. On the employment arena,
The employment question, right, Mark?
Yeah. How will you help individuals with disabilities increase employment opportunities, and would you also employ individuals with disabilities in your office?
First thing, yes. If I was to win, yes. The first thing I would do is bring Tom Queter into my campaign staff to help me with policies and outreach into these communities. Absolutely, I would. The second thing I would do to help employment with the disabled community is allow tax credits, tax breaks for employers to hire disabled people. I think right now the biggest issue is breaking the stigma that the disabled community isn't capable of doing the same job that everyone else is. And I think that once we allow them to integrate into society better, hold jobs, live in their own homes, become part of a community, and have better interactions, you're going to see that stigma slowly get broken, and you're going to see them have more opportunities. So right now, my biggest issue is, the false stigma that's surrounding the disabled community. So I think that allowing employers to hire disabled people, allowing tax credits or some form of, work credit would be a great start.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Whitmer, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. Good luck for your campaign in public office.
Thank you. We need it. I appreciate you guys having me on. You know, third parties are often ignored. So the fact that you guys invited me to be here, I wouldn't miss it. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys.
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your day now.
You do.
Thank you.